Okay, a very good afternoon and welcome to your favorite current affairs program live here on Mahamba Pambili SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Umangolosi omuhle usefikile, bringing you another exciting edition of uhlelo oluthandayo olufundisa wena kabanzi ngamalungelo akho. Mbukelo uyazi ke intombi yaphansi eThekwini emanzi emtoti is officially in the SABC building and sasikutshelile ukuthi we've got another exciting edition of Yilungelo Lakho. It's your right. Ukhumbule we are live namhlanje ke mbukelo kusho ukuthi ungasithinta ngocingo la studio ungasibuza umbuzo ubeka umbono. The magic numbers 0117145958 0117146778 consumer@sabc.co.za is of course our email address. Sikhona futhi ku Facebook. Asingabe sachitha isikhathi mbukeli asingene shiqe odabeni lethu la namhlanje. Kubantu abaningi okuphambili phela mebezoshada kubo izingubo namasuda nokusho amakheke ukukhazikhazi nazo zonke izinto ezimnandi phela akukhohlwa abantu abakukhohlwayo kodwa mbukeli kuukuthi phela umshado uza nemithetho obophelela nina nobabili njengoba nizoshada futhi ke uma ningakhulumisananga kahle ngokuthi umshado wenu onjani yini mhlambe into efanele lokho ke kunganishiya nisenkingeni enkulu especially mase sikhuluma ngeindaba zeimali ake siza ukuthi sibheke ukuthi abalaleli abaningi bathini namhlanje.
A young couple getting married must carefully consider the available 3 matrimonial property regimes that the South African law lets them choose from. If they don't make any choice and they don't go and see a notary, they are automatically married in what's called community of property. They share everything together. It's not a fantastic idea if one of them's in business, because if he goes out there and he loses money, the creditors of the business and of him can potentially come and attach all the assets that the couple has built up over the years.
Hawasho ke lapho mbukeli ummeli uEllen Levy lapha ya manje ke mbukeli asamukele izivakashi zethu phela ezihlangana nathi lapha ku Skype namhlanje sinabameli ababili namhlanje sabazosidinga idala lolu daba lethu ukuze sazi ukuthi what are the binding consequences of umshado before ungena kona. Sinayo uTafara Mukwani, he is a divorce attorney. Sibe naye futhi no Julianah Socikwa. Welcome ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on Yilungelo Lakho.
Thank you for inviting us. Thank you.
Siyabulela ngelithuba elisiphe lona lokuba sizothetha nababukeli.
All right. Puti, asiqale ngawe. I mean, as a divorce attorney, I mean, looking at the high divorce rates, particularly eMzansi nowadays, ungathi yini baba mhlambe eyenza ukuthi kungazwana kahle, especially when it comes to the money side of umshado?
In terms of imali side of umshado, sisi abantu abaningi bahlukene the way basebenzisa ngakhona imali. You discover ukuthi husband imali uyayisebenzisa kakhulu kudlula unkosikazi. Okumbe unkosikazi imali uyisebenzisa ngendlela yakhe more than indoda. So at the end of the day they have differences. Even a career path as well. Abanye abantu they are into risky jobs like sole proprietorships. They are doing business and they end up becoming insolvent. And that affects the joint estate.
Yeah, Baba.
Yeah, so most of the time, those are things that affect abantu emshadweni ukuthi kokona they pursue different career paths. Abanye they've got security. Discover to sebenza government. It's got a pension fund, stable salaries, things like that. Umunye is just doing like hustling. So you discover ukuthi most of the time these people they clash in terms of their ways of making money. At the end of the day, you discover that one person has got more stable income than the other. And also, most importantly, abantu that get married at a later age, like in my late 40s, my 50s, you discover that umunye goes into the marriage with a lot of assets and a lot of financial base. Then he gets involved with somebody who is also trying to start. At the end of the day, when they break up or things don't happen the way they anticipate, they have to share whatever they stay in the estate, which is a very, very unfortunate situation, my sister.
It is unfortunate, ngempela, but Tafara. Sis Julianah, I mean, why are these conversations, Tafara khuluma ngazo, not had prior to abantu going into that union, of which we know is legally binding, and abantu abaningi bayithola sebeshadile, kuyikhathi becabanga ukuthi kahle kahle this discussion, especially around money issues and the type of union that you're going into, should have been discussed?
Ngiyabulela, i-reason why abantu bezifumana bekwezingxaki ummeli uTafara azibekile is that xa nizongena emtshatweni kunengxoxo ekufanele abo bangena emtshatweni babe nazo, kube zingxoxo eziphangaleleyo, bajonge imeko abakuyo, isimo abakuso phambi koba bangene emtshatweni. And then ezinye izinto zingangabonakali or singangazazi okanye bangazazi, bajonge nemeko abazoba kuyo xa besemtshatweni.
All right.
Umzekelo.
Yes. All right, we're going to come back to your point. I want to quickly go back to Ilokhuzana, some of ama Lokhuzana, ama pointers that we got from abameli bethu. I guess is ukuthi nina nithini lapho.
Any couple for that matter who finds out that they've chosen the wrong matrimonial regime and now need to change their matrimonial regime, it's not such a simple process. One has to bring an application to one of the high courts in South Africa. It's an expensive application and it involves notifying all the creditors of the couple. But it can be done. Before the High Court will grant the application changing the matrimonial regime, it's going to want to see evidence that each of the couple's creditors have been informed and either have no objection.
Umbeli ke lapho Ellen Levy ebesikhulume naye embukela isibuzo ukuthi kahle kahle when it comes to lezi zinto zomshado iziphi izinto abantu ekumele bazazi. Now Tafara, I mean, maybe let's continue from that point ka Lokhuzana ka baba Mr. Levy. How does one even decide on which marriage regime, because we keep hearing this word popping up manje, and type to choose? Kufika kanjani kulo decision? So what are the type of discussions that need to happen before sifika lapho kutheni siyakhetha?
Yabonga, sis. What needs to happen actually before you get married, you need to assess each other. Who's assessing nawe, njengubaba no mama's assessing naye. Check ukuthi kokona, now that you're going to get married, what are your particularly your interests in terms of in matrimonial property? What are your interests as the two people that are getting married? Like for instance, I gave an example. Ukuthi umuntu is getting into mhlambe umshado wesibili wesithathu. Ungena ngengane zakho mhlambe 3 or 4.
Okay.
Already ninemuzi somewhere mhlambe Soweto. So then do you take that house and automatically it becomes in communal property to another man or another woman? Then 2 months down the line mhlambe kuyenzakala ukuthi wena uyashona kumbe li divorce ihlukane. Malihlukana laphayana, the same person will come and get half. That means ukuthi wena usebenze nzima for almost 20 years to build a house for your children. Then it's going to be taken half of it by another woman or another man, simply because you sit down and assess your situation, especially if you are getting to marriage and you've got already accumulated assets already. And also, number 2, some people, they enter into risky kind of jobs.
Ezinjani, Tafara? What are those kind of risky jobs you're talking about?
Open companies and they are maybe a sole proprietorship. Those kind of business means ukuthi kona ama debts wako and you can't be separate from your debts. You are the director and your debts are the debts, they're personally on you. Even sometimes when you're signing contracts of lease, you become insured. That means even if you fail to pay for the rental of your firm, it will come to your wife because you're married to property. And that will be an unfortunate situation. In the joint house, it's a bank because simply because you did not pay rental or did not pay landlord.
So Julianah, but Tafara,
Yes,
I just want to quickly bring in Sis Julianah before we go to ad break. I know Busenz Umzekelo Mama before Nick Disturb. I mean, Tafara has just mentioned a very important point here, because we've seen like videos of our assets being attached solely because did not abazange babe nalama discussions okba if sishate in community of property, anything that happens to the other one will happen to the other one.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, benseselapho sisindithi ingxaki yabantu is that xa bezotshata they get excited baplana laa mini yokugqibela kanti le bazotshata ngayo kanti ezona ntsuku ezibalulekileyo zezi ntsuku esiya kuzo kulaa mini yokugqibela for ukuthi ii-parties zihlale phantsi ezezizotshata and then babe nolwazi le-options zemitshato abangangena kuzo. That is after bebone bejonge izimo zabo ukuthi sikwesi simo and xa sesitshatile sizoba kwesi simo. And then bajonge the various matrimonial system ezikhona, and ezi-popular is this marriage in community of property, ne marriage out of community of property. So you look at i-lifestyle enizoyiphila, mhlawumbi nizoplan ukuthi we're going to have children, and mna as a husband, I wouldn't want my wife to go to work. And in that case, then it means umama uzohlala ekhaya angasebenzi. Or else you decide that you found me working as a wife and I want to continue with my work. And then the husband, let's say being a businessman, then naye pursues i-business yakhe. So njengoba seshilo ummeli uTafara, xa ukwi-business uhlangabezana ne-risk ezininzi. Like abanye abantu mhlambi you find a husband who is into trading. I-trading we know ukuthi today you can have millions and then tomorrow
you won't have anything. Absolutely.
Anything, absolutely nothing. So it's important to know the various matrimonial property systems. And
All right.
I think this...
All right, Sis Julianah.
Yes,
Sibambe lapho, Mama. I just want to quickly take an ad break. Mbugeli, I want to also remind you, Guti, we are live. You can call us. The numbers are on your screens. consumer@sabc.co.za is, of course, our email address. Hey, Mbugeli, sikhuluma ngemshado. Abantu sekumese kushubile phela. Sebengasazwani. Iqale phansi indaba ivume. Ivele indaba ukuthi hayibo sasingaxoxanga ukuthi kahle kahle ume kanjani wena kuma finances. Ume kanjani ku credit bureau. Yilungelo Lakho live on SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Returning back shortly after this. Bogeli, welcome back. Usabheke Yilungelo Lakho live here on Mahamba Phambili SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Ingcingo zethu ke seyivuliwe manje officially. Ungabamba iqhaza ku 0117145958, alternatively 0117146778. Ungasithumela ne-email ku consumer@sabc.co.za. Noma usilande lapha ku Facebook. I will be reading some of your Facebook messages as we progress with the show. But ngaphambi kokuthi siqhubeke ngodaba lethu lanamhlanje, of which we are discussing ama-marriages nemthetho, nokuthi yini ebalekile ukuthi ama-couples before eshada, before nisayina, yindaba zeyimali kumele zazi ukuthi hey izinto ekumele siyibone ngempela lezo. Kodwa siza ukuthi nini emgaqweni nithini?
Lento ithi izinto zakho zezakho ezami zezami ukuthi ayilunganga.
Ayilunganga ushadeleni pho. Bhetele ngashadi ngisebenzele ekhaya. Ya ekhaya ze number 1 ngisebenzele ekhaya ngingashadi. Iyokhula nini indlu yami? Izokhula nini umuzi wami? Izokhula nini ingane zami?
We are in relationship together. So that's the reason I'm saying what's him, it's mine. What's mine, it's him.
Mina ngithi umntana makangashada ngikhetha ukuthi ashade out of in community of property. Ngoba kulesikhathi samanje abanye abantu bayagaina ngomunye umuntu. Uthola ukuthi ungena emshadweni akana nix. Mase baqala ba divorce so uthatha izinto zomunye umuntu manje angasebenzelanga. And sometimes akashadiswa ukuthi uyamthanda lo muntu. Ufuna ukugaina lento afuna ukuyigaina.
Namhla ngathatha umfazi ngiyofuna ukuthi mhlambe engathi singangena kulomshado lo ozothi okwami okwakhe naye okwakhe kube okwami. Senzela zona izaleze nje ukuthi mhlambe mase fisikhathi sothi kuhlukana ungabe ukuthi khona osezosokola mhlambe impilo yakhe yena imi uyabona akasezukwazi mhlambe manje ukuthola ezinye zezingxenye zezinto ebesinazo so wabili sesemshadweni.
Out of community of property izoxabanisa futhi ngoba uzathi my sister kuye athawo why uthi out of community of property kusho ngithembi.
I would give my daughter to get married out of community of property.
Why?
Because nowadays manyalo ayafela And then if you look in community of property, there are so many things that are through zona the process and and stuff like that.
Sometimes into about umshado se okunye sewenza stock fair so nokuthi omunye athunyelwe obomama bethi hamba oshada lo umuntu ngoba kubo kunomcebo.
Hey uthi mama ay kanti ngishadele noma phela into yethu kungeyona eyethu. My guest this afternoon Tafara Mukwani, he is a divorce attorney. Sithe nje asinilethele specialist namhlanje alongside omunye ummeli usis Julianah Socikwa. Now Tafara, listening to those very interesting and different views, a lot of people saying, you know, what's yours is yours. Uthi mama yenagazi. Abanye bathi out of community comes with a lot of things. Abanye bantu uzo feel as if you don't trust them or you don't love them. And then, but a lot of people are making a lot of sense in that these days, a lot of marriages don't last. So you need to take care of yourself before you enter into this legally binding contract. Because what I think people don't understand is that contract umshado is legally binding, Bab.
Ngiyabonga sisi. And ngiyabezwa abalaleli lapha. One thing that is very important is that kumele sihlukanise imizwa from ezomnotho.
Feelings from money.
Between yes, economic affairs from feelings. But sometimes we feel ukuthi kokona I should prove that ngiyamthanda by marrying community of property. But need to do a serious assessment of yourselves. And in some of the marriages like in community of property, you can also choose out of a community of property, including the accrual. Ngamanye amagama, what you bring in, it's yours. But what's going to accumulate masi sonke, we can share. So we can do a lot, but when it's out of community property, it means uyakwazi ukuthenga indlu alone. You can also go and get credits alone, because if it's community property, one of the most dangerous thing about the community property, when you're getting a debt, it's called from African Bank, Capitec Bank, your partner must also sign to consent as also a data to that particular credit. So it hinders you. Sometimes and they fail to give you even a loan simply because it's spouse blacklisted a credit bureau. So there are a lot of advantages so out of community property these days. And looking at the high rate of divorce, as Ilan Mzansi, it's just too much. I've heard of divorce where people they are divorced after 1 year of marriage. Sometimes even 8 months, they are already on separation. But again, and sometimes people you marry somebody and you die within 2 years of marriage. Then ungene emshadweni ngabantwana bakho with your own house, your own home. 2 years down the line, it means ukuthi kona you are gone and abantwana they will be going to be displaced by the new spouse that you just married. So there are a lot of things that need to look into. As Sister Julia said earlier on, you must look at your situation thoroughly, assess kahle. Because each situation differs. It depends on the kind of trade that you're doing, circumstances when you personally. I've handled divorces whereby somebody is working for 30 years, then ashate umuntu for 3 years, then he gets half of the pension fund of you after working for 30 years. So I encourage abantu, especially if you're marrying at a later age, you've worked very hard for 30 years alone, and you've built an empire for yourself. There's a kind of lifestyle that you're already living. I encourage you to do it.
Uyasithusa Tafara, uyasithusa ngempela. I'm sure a lot of people that are watching from home but yazini I ansezi mina emshadweni. Sis Julianah, I mean, let's talk about that. I mean, a lot of people will then argue that if these are the things that we need to consider, pre-consider before sithatha any decision based on umshado wetu what kind of communion it's going to be, then it means umshado is no longer about uthando, of which it's initially what it's supposed to be about.
And Yabonga Sisi, umshado is still about uthando, and it's also being realistic about who we are, ne circumstances zethu. Njengoba sechilo uTafara enikeza examples. Actually, abantu bakuthi I think banida ukufundiswa babe educated ngazo zonke ezinhlobo zemishado. You get someone who knows very well that I need to enter into umshado out of community of property. But because of a misconception ekhona yokuthi if you opt for umshado out of community of property, you have i-divorce in mind. So kufanele sibabekele ecaleni abantu ukuthi what do they think. Njengoba bengike ndatsho kuqala sijonga izimo zethu. No in community of property kulamalanga usese right. And even if, let's say, you've accumulated estate for 30 years, the choice of your wife that you take, if choice kankosikazi omthathileyo, let's say ngulo nkosikazi uTafara athetha ngayo, it's a choice that you are making. You have built this estate alone, and of all the women that are out there, when you chose law ozotshata nayo okwesibini, for as long as you go there, whether it's out of community of property, you go there with your eyes open. I also don't see a problem. The problem is if you have not been properly advised, you are just doing it for the sake of doing it. No thando kakhulu uphele ungena amehlo evalekile, ungena in community of property, being aware of the consequences. But with what I've just highlighted, that abanye, they don't want out when out would be the right option, because they are looking at abantu ukuthi bazothi how can you go for out of community of property? You look at, like I said before, look at your circumstances. Will you fit go in, or will you fit go out of community? And besides, out, it's not like go out or plain. There's go out of community of property with or without i-accrual.
All right, but maybe Tafara, this is what I want to know. We can't predict ubana umtshato wethu uzolasta kangakanani when we initially get married. I mean, I know ukuthi Holland, couples are allowed to review i-regime yomshado wabo after a certain time. Wouldn't it then be a bit too risky ukuthi siconsiderishe ukuthi singena kiphi regime so early before sishada, and then can we go eMzansi eHome Affairs sihambe siyoshintsha ama-options after sesishadile?
It's allowed, you can change after seshatile, but the process is very expensive. You need an attorney and launch a high court application. And when you make this high court application, you must notify our creditors, our banker, and everybody we owe monies. We now want to change from in community to out of community of property. And those creditors must consent. Sometimes you discover that you have got a joint net bank home loan, and that you qualified based on your salaries of two couples. Now, if you don't settle that bond and you say out of community, it means the creditor will compromise the net bank home loan. Therefore, sometimes they can object. We don't want them to go out of community property. So you need to advertise, put the government gazette, and also notify creditors, and they must consent to your change. It's an expensive process. It requires high court application. It's doable, but it's a bit expensive.
Yeah, but Tafara, maybe very quickly, Sis Julianah, what do you think about that? The fact that, I mean, it's a long process. So, a lot of people are going to be cushioning in Malzabo on some saying, you know what, we might as well not go this route. Oromye would flatly refuse to go and change its status as a regime yomshado wabo. What happens in that case?
Mina, I would advise ukuthi i-parties bazingena emtshadweni zenze what is called estate planning. Bangene beyazi ukuthi yonke into bayilungiselele. But if sebephakathi abanye izinto ziyatshintsha beplanile kunjalo, but to minimize these problems that uTafara has outlined, it's njengoba ngitshilo ndithi kufanele i-parties ziplane kakuhle, umuntu bazazi umuntu nomuntu ba ndingubani, where are we going in this marriage, sifuna ukuphila kanjani kulo mtshado wethu. And then now what kind of a, yes ma'am. All right, so I'll continue with this discussion shortly after the break in Mbukeli. Let's now take another quick ad break where we're going to be still giving you live updates. Of course, ukuthi wena uma ngabe ungene in a marriage regime, a contract, yini kahle kahle kumele uyazi. Yilungelo Lakho returns shortly after this break. Ungayindawo Mbukeli.
Bogeli, welcome back. Our participation lines are wide open. The magic numbers 011-714-5958, alternatively 714-6778. You can also send us your thoughts to consumer@sabc.co.za. Alternatively, catch us on our social media platforms. Ngizobe ngifunda ama-email enu khona manje nama-Facebook messages. But before siqhubeka nohlelo, I do have our caller on the line, Anonymous, all the way from Pretoria. Anonymous, welcome to Yilungelo Lakho. Singakusiza kanjani namhlanje?
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you, Sisi?
I'm good, thank you.
Singakusiza kanjani?
Yeah, so we've been married for a year.
Okay.
And it's in terms of customary marriage because we actually never signed because we couldn't agree in terms of marrying in community or out of community.
Okay.
So, but we weren't aware that actually customary marriage by virtue is in community of property. So now we are divorcing, so he wants 60% of my pension. I haven't been working that long, so okay. And then he also wants now spousal maintenance. And so my attorney had advised that maybe we could apply for forfeiture of spousal benefits.
Okay.
So I just want to get clarity in terms of that, and also maybe just what are my chances? What is the advice that I can get in this regard? What should I do?
Wait, Anonymous, before I let you go, is your soon-to-be ex-husband currently working njengoba sent divorce?
He is self-employed.
He is self-employed also. That's why efuna spousal maintenance kuwe as well. All right, Anonymous. Ngicela ulalele lapho kumabonakude wakho. Maybe let's start with Tafara. Tafara, I'm sure you heard the question then. So what do you think?
Yes, thank you, ma'am. They married in community of property in 1 year, and they only married for 1 year. Usually, the consequence of marriage in community of property is that the joint estate is divided to Anonymous. And they share. If there's pension fund, the other party must get 50% of that pension fund. However, there are circumstances in court where the other party can apply to what we call forfeiture of benefits. It looks at a number of factors. Number one, the level of contribution. Number two, it can also look at financial misconduct if there's anybody who was not behaving well financially. Number three, it also takes into the length of the marriage. They've been married for almost 1 year.
Yes.
It's also the court is going to look at that as well. They married only just for a year. And the level of contribution. If UCC came into the marriage with a lot of other things, and this guy was only in the marriage for just a year, there might be a compelling grounds to issue a forfeiture order by the court. And by forfeiture, I mean that they say, look, you are supposed to get half by virtue of your marriage. But nevertheless, because of this forfeiture order, you can only get maybe 30% or 20% or not get anything at all, depending on the circumstances. So it's doable. It can be done. It's only that they need to prove before court that the other party does not deserve to get anything based on all those sectors that I mentioned, like death of marriage, level of contribution. If there's any financial misconduct, also the court take cognizance of those things.
But Tafara, maybe if you can just in depth there. I mean, you were talking about this forfeiture. Maybe when does it apply? When is it applicable? When can one even invoke or apply for this type of ilokuzana from the court?
During divorce, if you are married, you were married community of property, and you have the view that the other party did not contribute that much to the estate. And this, people must listen to this very carefully. There is a different. Some people, they come to court, they want forfeiture on the basis that the wife was sitting at home. But the court looks at sweeping the house, cleaning the house, washing the plates as a part of contribution.
Absolutely.
So you don't come saying, no, we look at things that but nevertheless, instead of abhadale endlini bekenza njani mhlambe ke phuza amanzi kafaro yonke imali angayisebenzisa endlini. Then or alternatively umuntu lo lishade just for a short period of time, like about 1 year, honestly, he found you with indlu, he found you with imoto, and the patient father they've already accumulated. Then after 1 year we are divorced. I want half of your estate. I mean, you have got a compelling reasons to ask the court, look, because of the duration of our marriage, this person must forfeit, I mean, some of the benefits of marriage. And the financial misconduct, there are some cases instead of abandon a bond recently, but into somewhere to somebody, and they take in money, give it to other people. You can go to court and say, look, this person had financial misconduct. he never contributed towards the estate. He was contributing somewhere else. While I'm busy building the house alone.
All right, okay, siyabonga Tafara. Let's take our next caller, Tembega, all the way from Gageti in Pietermaritzburg. Sekwamukela Tembega, thank you so much for joining us. Ngakusiza kanjani namhlanje?
Ngiyabonga kakhulu ukungena kumina. Ngicela ukubuza ukuthi estate planning uyenza how long before the marriage date, reception of the marriage, nokuthi uyenza kuphi, uyenza nabani.
Okay, oh ma, thank you so.
Is it free or not?
Okay.
Mina personally, I would prefer out of community of property on this basis. Ngoba omunye uzoba extravagant kwi-side lakhe. Omunye akwazi ukuseva kahle. Mhlawumbe mina ngiyashada verse ngine-fixed property nginomuzi wami. Manje masesishadile kuthengwe omunye umuzi. Mhlawumbe ngishiye ngiqashisile la. Uma kwenzeka lo muzi udliwa, sine-option ukuthi siyohlala kuloya muzi wami. I-umbrella body yomsado ngibona ukuthi it should be love, it should be not based on love, not on assets. Ngoba uma nibambe le umbrella body yothando, ngoba noma omunye is failing financially, niyakwazi niqhubeke niphile.
Siyabonga kakhulu Mam Tembega. Wow, some very profound views there from Mam Tembega all the way in Pietermaritzburg. Maybe Mam Julianah, I mean, uyabuza uma ukuthi when does this estate planning, I think Tafara had mentioned it earlier when we started the show. Uthi qala nini? And then like what are the costs and iskhathi and so forth that are involved around this process?
Ngiyabonga sisi, estate planning, I cannot specify the length of time, but it should start long enough before umchado, before parties zizimanye ngomchado. So kwi-part ye-plans zabo, nayo fanele estate planning into very, very important. They can go to an attorney, a specializer, ngezindaba ze-estate nemishado. Or alternatively, they can go to a financial planner. Iba advise ukuthi, considering imeko zenu, circumstances zenu, this is the type of matrimonial system ekumele nihambe ngayo. And then consider indaba yokuthi ithatha, I mean, as ingafumaneka na for mahala. Lapho angacheka kwi-office ezinjengo legal aid ukuthi bangakwazi na ukunceda but zingaba khona nezinye inkonzo mhlambi apha bangafumana khona uncedo lwamahala, because I think i-reason abantu abaninzi bezifumana kwisimo abakuso is that afford these services, imali abanayo basavela la mini enkulu yomchado. Ezinto ezincinci, ezinto that are seemingly small, which at the end of the day become a problem. Baphele bezi-neglecta, bezi-ignora, kanti zizinto ezi-important kakhulu. I think we're planning yomchado, if you intend to spend, let's say 20,000 on your marriage, I think if there should also be finances put aside for things like this, like consulting with somebody or a specialist on these things, and then you should be able to pay them. Singaconcentrate nje kwezizangala mina enchata ngayo to avoid izinto ezikhona. Yes,
siyabonga kakhulu Mam Julianah. Uyezwa ke mbukele lapho kuthiwa kubaluleke kakhulu ukuthi nina, if you're a couple and you are planning ukuthi nishade, le estate planning ayenzeke like months or years before nizoshada, so that kwazeke ukuthi umbani ume ngakuphi endabeni zeimali, ubani okwi credit bureau, kuzosetshenziswana kanjani, so that mase kuneyinkinga everybody knows where everybody is standing. In numbers are on your screens. We're coming back shortly after this. Yilungelo Lakho live with Umajali on SABC 1 Mzansi, for sure. Ngaindawo. We're back live in Studio Mbukeli. Please call us 011-714-5859. Alternatively, 011-714-6778. consumer@sabc.co.za is, of course, our email address. Noma ungasithola lapha Facebook page yethu. My guest today, Ubaba Tafara Mukwani, a divorce attorney, alongside Umam Julianah Socikwa. Yena-ke naye ungummeli. Itopic yethu namhlanje Mbukeli, before nishada, iziphi izinto ekumele nikhulume ngazo as a couple, particularly when it needs to deal with this, because siyazi ukuthi kuthiwa hey imshado yamanje iphela njengamaphepha ivutha nje umlilo wa 2 months wanyaka abantu sebeyadivorce abasazi ukuthi benzeni. Ungasithinta ke nawe la Mbukeli e-studio. Now Mom Julianah, I want to ask you, I think our caller there was, I'm not sure if it was anonymous or Rutemberger, uthi they couldn't decide before bechata to sign out of community or in community, and they were not aware ukuthi automatically i-state ibona leyo union as a customary marriage. Maybe usichazele ukuthi what doesn't that customary marriage then entail in terms of the law? Who's entitled to what?
Depending on ixesha abachate ngalo, if umtshato wabo awuregisterishwanga, like kuke kwaba namalobola, and then the other side, like lomyeni lamkelwa kulo nkosikazi, then lo mtshato sithatha ukuthi ngumtshato o in community of property.
Okay.
And then okunye endithanda ukuchaphazela, mhlambi umuntu omameleyo ngoku, let's say wayetshate dala and wayeve ukuthi xa ngaba utshate nge-custom, ngamanye amagama ngokwesintu,
yes,
utshate kufana nokuthi utshate out of community of property. That is kudala, like more than before November 2000. If utshate nge-customary union, umtshato wakho, according to Black Administration Act, umtshato wakho, it was umtshato out of community of property. Unlike ngoku uba in community of property. But ngoku, because of a case kaSithole edicidwe ekuqaleni kwalonyaka, abantu abaninzi ngela xesha babezifumana betshate nge-custom ngelo xesha ebirecognizwa as umtshato out of community of property. And kumaxesha akudala, especially komama abamnyama, bona bebehlala ekhaya, mhlawumbi bangadicida notata uba sithenga indlu ngoku, but ufumanisa uba indlu xa irejistwa ngotata. And then xa sekufika ixesha mhlawumbi loba utata asweleke utata, okanye mhlawumbi izinto zingahambi right, badivorce. So ufumanisa ukuthi umama lo obespende iminyaka ekhulisa abantwana, ebambe ikhaya emakhaya, uba kwi-disadvantage. Ngoku yonke into iwela kutata ngoba yonke into ibhaliswe ngotata. So kule case kaSithole endithetha ngayo, i-Constitutional Court iye yadicida ukuthi imitshato yonke imitshato abantu ababetshate nge-custom ebiregadwa as ukuthi i-out of community of property, in community of property. So in other words, nawe owawutshate nge-custom and who has been regarding your marriage as out of community of property all those years, it's as good as you are married in community of property, then you will benefit with estate yesinye spouse.
All right.
And then
okay, Ma'am Julianah, I just want to quickly take a caller there. Timothy, all the way from Polokwane, has been holding on to the line. But Timothy, thank you so much for staying on the line. Singakusiza njani namhlanje?
Bengicela ukubuza la ibuzo lenginawo lama.
Yebo baba.
Bengicela ukubuza ukuthi awushadile noma ngizasengasiba ngikhulume. Awushadile la ushade ngemshado lo ukuthi ngosinto uthola kusuka umshado ngolobola.
Yebo.
Ushada ngolobola uthola ukuthi ekhaya i-breadwinner.
Yes.
Then ushada lapho kodwa kufika lapho nefazi uyahlukana, then nomfazi sekukhipha incwadi ukuya kuma-Anthony yakhe ukuthi ufuna i-community of property. Injani le indzaba le ihamba so?
Okay, yazi but Timothy wasingena emlonyeni kahle kahle. That's exactly what Umam Julianah was trying to explain now. Maybe let me just rope in Tafara. Tafara, from your understanding, naba abantu bayabuza uyabuza Timothy uthi nazo-ke ngiyashada ngikhokha ilobolo ngokwesintu asisayini iphepha elithize akukho umfazi wephepha insizwa indoda yephepha but lo muntu okhiphe ilobola uyi-breadwinner khwicicise kuyahlukwana nangumuntu usezofuna ama-benefits manje from ilokhuzana from lo khokha amalobolo uthi kusebenza kanjani lokho?
Ngiyabonga sisi. Umshado wesintu ungakhipha amalobolo, it's in community of property.
Okay.
So abantu abaningi they are not aware of that. And bathi bona ngoba njoba sayinanga, so it's not a marriage, it's a marriage.
Okay.
Recognition of Customary Marriages Act 120 of 1998 recognizes imishado yesintu according to different cultures that are around nanemzansi. So pay lobola a part of it or all of it, or just even look having that customary thing happening, it means you are married in community of property. And if you do lobola first, you might not, somebody might refuse to be dragged to an attorney to do an anti-nuptial contract.
Yes.
You can just refuse. You can just refuse because I don't want to sign anything. And they really know that that marriage is a community of property.
So and what you're saying, Tafara, so sorry to cut you there, Tafara, let me make myself and the viewers understand this. So you're basically saying, noma ngathiwa kunamalobola akhishiwe, you still need to go the legal route in hambe and you sign a prenup or whatever it is, a marriage regime, in order to ensure ukuthi you are protected when it comes to these things, when it comes to ama claims and so forth.
This is very, very key, sis, and ureze. That is very important.
Yeah.
What happens is that umshado wesintu is a complete marriage. So if you go and pay amalobola to anybody, it means you are made a community of property. You can't then, it will be up to the party to agree or not agree. So kuba nzima kakhulu, you don't take the person, the lady, ukuthi kona asambe siyosayina manje. You can refuse. Utangifuni a prenup, I'm okay. And she knows ukuthi kona already is in community of property. Therefore, you're in a big problem. So I advise abantu bamnyama, go and sign a prenup before amalobolo. I know most people, they say, why are you going to sign? A prenup is not a marriage. It's just, you are preparing.
Okay.
It's an agreement that you're signing before a marriage.
Okay.
So it's advisable. Go and sign before you even pay ilobolo. Because you pay ilobolo, then somebody refuses to sign your prenup. You are in community of property.
Yo, Tafara uyasithusa manje thina asikakashadi. Let me tell you, I'm going to take very, very few comments here on social media. Jane Molefe uthi, she was saying she would love to hear about a customary marriage, of which we've just discussed. And it sounds like this is the one that abantu need to educate themselves around, because it means ukuthi asazi ukuthi senzani thina phela ngesintu sazi ukuthi mukhokhe ilobolo umfazi wathelwa ngenyongo. That's all you need to do. But there's other things, prenups to be in a community of property is not good, because someone who's not working will depend on someone who's working, and if they divorce each other, then they need to separate the things between each other. Basically what we've been saying ukuthi kwenzeka kanjalo imbukeli asiphuthume ekhefini-ke manje lethu lokugcina siyabuya khona manje ungayindawo Yilungelo Lakho live on SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Don't go anywhere. It's our final segment, Mbukeli Yilungelo Lakho. When we're having fun. Still with Tafara Mukwani, the divorce attorney, alongside Julianah Socikwa naye, an attorney. Mbukeli namhlanje besikhuluma ngezinto ekumele niconsideration as a couple before nina nishada. Ma'am Julianah, maybe let's bring you in here. Usisithobeka siyabonga uthi to be married in community of property to me is good because it makes things easier to the both of you. You are both able to assist each other financially. And bahle studio, because everybody's now saying, back to that point that we were talking about, Uguti, it seems like people are getting married to be dependent on omunye umuntu for financial reasons.
Thank you, Sisi. Njengoba sesitshilo, it can never be good for everyone. Circumstances zethu xa singena emitshatweni azifani. So sizibekile zonke scenarios ayingeke ibe good, but if despite the fact that the choice of marriage that you should take, it should be, let's say, out of community of property, but Nina, you opt for it in community. I would say if it's fine for you, go for it, but don't go for it because it's popular or because of a misconception yokuthi abantu, like I've said earlier, they will think ukuthi you have a divorce in mind. You don't choose it out of community because you are thinking about a divorce. It's because you are looking at the circumstances surrounding Nina abantu abachadayo.
Okay.
But if it's what you want in community, nobody can stop you. But it's not about what is popular or what you like. It's about its circumstances then and its formanani goes before
All right.
you chat.
Okay, ma.
It's not for everyone.
All right, ma. Thank you so much for clarifying that. But Tafara, maybe just a quick one. Do assets and liabilities then that were accumulated before Sishada actually form part of the couple's joint estate, noma sebe divorce?
Yebo sisikunjalo. Imali shada, even if you get in with 6 houses and nama 2 million is kolodo, they are part of the marriage. Ungena nazo. You drag them in. So you can't then argue. Abantu abaningi, they argue at the later stage ku divorce. Uthi mina indlu utole nginayo akusebenzi. And most presiding officers actually they get irritated by those kind of arguments. I've been to court so many times. They say, why did you enter into that kind of marriage? If you wanted to take your houses out that you entered marriage with, you're supposed to go to an attorney and consult. And also, I want to educate the viewers on this one. There are some people that go to sign a prenup, anti-nuptial contract to different male, and they fail to declare the commencement value. I've done that so many times. In other words, you just go there and say, I did nothing, even if you had something. Then you say, including the accrual. You are practically made a commitment of property because why? You are saying the 6 houses that you entered into marriage with, they don't exist. Because once you declare that I went with 0, it's 0.
This is very worrying, Tafara. And then what are the consequences? Let's say abantu bayithola sebekuleyo divorce stage, and then this emerges ukuthi umuntu there were assets angazange wa declare before they are into this conjuncture of ama assets.
It means they become part of the estate and they are supposed to be shared equally amongst between the parties. So you can't then argue before. No, it doesn't work.
Okay.
If you marry community of property, everything automatically is in. If you marry out of community of property, go to a proper attorney who knows how to draft an anti-nuptial contract. Because I'm sorry to say this, most lawyers, they draft anti-nuptial contracts for people and the commencement value they declare nil. That's very dangerous. Because
all right.
If you say your client...
Yes, go ahead, Tafara.
If you say your client entered into marriage with nothing when they had 6 cars or 6 houses, then you are simply saying, whatever they came with, they are going to be part of the accrual. They are still going to be shared. So you need to declare your net assets before you enter, if you are signing an anti-nuptial contract.
All right. Okay, maybe to close, Ma'am Julianah, very quickly, do you think this perception that people have around this out of community of property maybe is misplaced?
It's true. It is misplaced, ma'am. It's because of a lack of education. And I would urge people to educate themselves before they enter into these kinds of marriages. I know we get various advices from our relatives, those that have been there before us, but that advice, it's not enough. It's good to get good advice. Before you get into a marriage in community of property, you go there with all of them. You may have properties that are registered in your name alone, but they still form part of, even if during, let's say the marriage lasted for 10 years, it's not going to change the fact that they become part of the estate.
Okay, ngiyabonga kakhulu Ma'am Julianah Socikwa, an attorney there alongside ubaba Tafara Mukwani, a divorce attorney. Mbukele let's hope ukuthi sizizamile sanisiza namhlanje. Hey, hambani yokwenza ama estate planning. Mina ke I'm going to get up now because it is time for me to unfortunately love and leave you and promise you ukuthi sizoba nani futhi next week Tuesday khona la kumamba phambili SABC 1 eMzansi for sure. Eyakanjalo intokazi ithi nisale kahle.